Hello, lovelies. I decided that I'm gonna tell you a story time because I've never really done a story time with you. So this is about the time that I dated a wealthy man, a rich, wealthy man. So, um, we started dating, and when we started dating, he started getting my nails done, getting my hair done, um, taking me shopping, taking me to the finest restaurants in Los Angeles, on the beachfront, taking me to Manhattan Beach, taking me to Long Beach, to the restaurants out there, on the water, the coast of the water, where you can eat and look at the sunset. Like, he was putting thousands in my bank account. He asked me about my credit, and he was like, okay, we're going to start a line of credit for you. And he was like, I'll pay off any debt that you have. He was like, let me check your credit and I'll pay off any debt that you have. He did that. Um, this is daily. Like, he would take me to the mall. He was like, oh, buy you a purse, buy you, you need a new phone. Like, I'll get you the latest phones. Like, he got me the Sidekick, the Chirp phone, and um, some pink phone. I don't know. I forgot it. I don't know, but he bought me everything that I could have desired, like, in general. Like, it was like that pink Razor phone, if y'all remember that one. So anyway, I was in my early 20s. Like, I was 20, like 22, 23, and he was in his early 40s. So, my friends was like, what are you doing with that older man? And I was like, well, why don't you come and find out? So I invited one of my homegirls over, and he took us to the mall, took us shopping, and then he took us to take pictures. And then she was like, I see why you like him. She was like, does he have a friend? And I just started laughing. So I was dating him for like a few months, and then he was like, well, why don't you just go ahead and move in with me? Because at the time I was living with my uncle, right? And I was like, okay, I'll move in with you. So everything was going cool. Like, we would be, listening to jazzy music, classy music. He would take me on these limo rides, all over Hollywood, all over Los Angeles. We would be drinking champagne, eating grapes. Like, this was the lifestyle that I was living. Not to mention, he got a big historic house in Los Angeles, like 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Like, it was just huge. It was huge. A big backyard, big front yard. He bought me a car. And so I was like, man, I really like this dude. Like, he's pretty cool. But there's something that's not sitting right because I feel something is a little off. I couldn't figure out what it was, but I knew it was something. And plus, it was a lifestyle that I wasn't used to. So I was like, I mean, is this for real? Like, this man will buy me anything that I can dream of and more. And he gives me money, like, every day to do whatever it is that I want to do. So I moved in with him, and after about a year of us dating, he started disappearing on the weekends. Like, on Friday, he would disappear and then come back on Sunday, like Sunday morning. So I was like, you disappearing on Friday and you coming in on Sunday. And I was calling his phone. So I'm like, and then he's not answering. Or if he answered, he would like, oh, hello. I was like, where are you? I gotta go. And then he would just hang up. So I'm like, okay, something is not right. But we're in an actual relationship, so I'm gonna just hang in there. So then when he would come on Sunday, I'd be like, you were gone all weekend. And then to make up for that, he would be like, I'll just take you shopping and da 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 da. So I would go for it because he'd be like, okay, we're about to go shopping. Like, so he would come home on Sunday morning and he'd be like, oh, I'm taking you shopping today. Go get ready. So I get ready and then we just go out in the town. That's just what we did. So that was his way of throwing me off. And it actually, worked at the time, even though it was in the back of my mind, like, where was this guy all weekend? So one day, he called his sister and they were just going back and forth, and he had her on speakerphone and they started having an argument, and he was like, you're unclean, unsaved, and all this stuff to his sister. And then his sister was like, unclean and unsaved? Like, she's like, you're the one who's married with a girlfriend. And I looked at him like, you're married? I said, I was thinking to myself, like, I asked this dude if he was married several times because he was an older man with money. I'm like, has this dude ever been married or what? And the only thing that he told me was that he was married to Jesus Christ. But anyway, I had just found out that he was married via his sister. So I'm like, okay, you know what? So when they got off the phone, I was like, you're married? And he didn't want to give any explanation. The only thing he wanted to do was take me shopping. So I was just supposed to just sit back and be quiet and just let him take me shopping while I found out this dude was married. And his only explanation was, oh yeah, that was way back in 1997. So to me, I'm just left to make up the details in my head. So that was way back in 1997. So I'm assuming y'all are divorced. He's like, do you live with me? And I said, yeah. He said, okay. Do you see any wife around here? I said, no, I don't see no wife. He said, okay. So I was like, okay. So anyway, it's like the following weekend, he disappears again on Friday. I said, okay, no. Either the next time when he disappears, I'm going to jump in my car and I'm going to follow him to where he's going, or either I'm going to just hack his computer, whichever one comes first. So I get on his computer and I hack it. I figure out the password and I start scrolling through his emails. And lo and behold, I found some female that he was in there talking to, going back and forth with, and he was telling the female that he was gonna, actually she was asking like, oh, are you gonna get my hair done this weekend? And he was like, yeah. And so I looked and scrolled through the email so I could find her phone number and her address. So I did find her phone number and her address, but she lived way up north. So then I was like, okay, well, let me just call the girl. I was like, should I call her? Don't call her. So I'm just saying, call her. So I called her. And I was like, how do you know such and such? And she was like, what do you mean, how do you know such and such? I said, how do you know such and such? Like, who is this person to you? She was like, oh, that's my man. We've been together for 2 years. And I was like, what? Like, that's my fiance. We live together. And She was like, what? I said, yep, that's my fiance. We live together. And he bought me a car. And she was like, oh my God. So she called her sister, had her sister on three-way, and they was like, both like they on their way down there to the house. And I was like, okay, I will unlock the door and y'all can come in when y'all get here. And we about to bust this dude. So it took them a couple of hours. They came down. I unlocked the door, let them in. They had a seat on the couch. And I was like, we just got to talking about this and that. So they was like, we just gonna wait on him. And so I told her, I was like, you know what? I just found out that he was married too. And then she was like, no, he's not married. I said, yes, he is married. Like, how you gonna tell me that he's not married? And I'm telling you that he is. She's like, no, he's not married. And I said, yes, he is. But anyway, she was cool and all outside of that marriage thing because she didn't believe me. But anyway, she was waiting on, actually, we was waiting on him to come to the house. He never came. So she wrote him a little note. And she was like, can you give this to him? And I was like, yeah. So I waited on him to come home. He didn't get home till like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He was waiting on her to leave. I know he was, and I know he was scared as I don't know what to come through that door. So, anyways, he came home. I gave him the letter from the girl. He looked at it and ripped it up. And then I told him, I was like, you better make a choice right now on who you want to be with, because I'm not going to be dealing with this. And then he goes, are you standing right there? I say, yes. He was like, okay, so that's who I want to be with. I want to be with you. And I was like, okay. But to myself, I was thinking, I was like, okay, this dude is married. He got a girlfriend. I had a ring on my finger. And the way he so-called asked me to get married to him, we went in the mall, he bought a ring, and then he just, in the parking lot of the mall, placed a ring on my finger and said, now we're engaged. So I was like, okay, this is the wealthy lifestyle. Like, this is what well-off men do. This is how they treat their women. I'm just supposed to just accept anything? Like, no. So I was like, okay, Janice, like, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to have to go get you a job. He was already giving me money, so I already had money in my bank account. But I was like, you're going to have to go get you a job and basically get your own place, because you can't keep dealing with this guy. Like, he's doing way too much. So, yes, I was living a very, very lavish lifestyle. I mean, like, on the drop of a dime, he'd be like, oh, get ready. You know, he would have me in these fancy dresses, and he took me to a ball where there was nothing but ballers there. Okay? And they were having some type of fundraiser. And women were dressed like, in dresses like, you know, like a Cinderella looking dress. That's what I had to wear. And we just riding around in limos. Like, this was my everyday life. But at the same time, I was being controlled. He was controlling me, isolating me away from my family. You know, if we go out to a restaurant, he would order my food for me. You're going to eat this kind of thing. I'm like, dude, you think because you have money, you can just control everything. Everything. So I took that like, I got to get up out of this lifestyle. I understand that it's cool. I understand, you know, money is cool, but that lifestyle of him controlling everything, then turn around and cheating on me, like, I need some type of freedom. Like, my homegirl wanted to go out to the club with me, and he would make it, he just made it such a big deal. Oh, no, you're not going to no club. You're not going to no club. You're not going here. You're not going there. So me being, 22, I had to end that lifestyle. It was a sacrifice, I understand that when you're around wealthy people, you can't do certain things. However, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. With him, and see, ladies, if you're going to be with that kind of man, you can expect to be controlled. That's for some of them. They're very controlling. They want to know what you're doing, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, but they can go out and do what they want to do. So it's a catch-22 situation. So, what ended up happening to the guy? He ended up getting sued anyway. He got sued for all of his assets, all his money in the bank. His shop, because he had a clothing store, an auto shop. He had just everything he had, all his assets he got sued for. And he ended up bouncing back after a couple of years, but the whole lawsuit thing, I didn't know anything about that. And, I had to get to the point where I was stacking my money so that I can get my own place. Because I had to find my own place, because this dude got sued. He got sued for every single one of his assets. So the moral of the story is, If you're going to be with a wealthy man, number one, make sure he's not getting sued. For number two, make sure you have a backup plan ready in motion at all times, because you don't know what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And that's another thing, like dealing with those wealthy men. Sometimes they have friends who are wealthy who can do things. Like they want to try to take you to court and do all this stuff. I mean, I know I'm going all off the topic, but it's just facts. Wealthy men have friends in high places. So that's a whole nother avenue. And that's my story time. I wanted to tell y'all the real deal behind dating a wealthy man, because I was with that man for all of like 5 years. I was with him for about 5 years. And some of those years, it was more focused on how I was going to get away from him. So yeah, I left some portions of the story out just because I know that some people know who this man is, and I don't even want to go there. But y'all have yourselves a great and fantastic day or night, and take care.